JP, take us through one of the fan favorites, one of the better fan bases in the G5, the Texas State Bobcats. Let's bring us home.
Yeah, I think we should have done a trade here, Jake. I think I should have had the Warhawks. You could have taken the Bobcats because I'm about 96% positive. No matter how good or poor I do on this preview, I'm going to get ripped by this fan base. Passionate fan base down in San Marcos should not apologize for that at all. But I'm going to dive into it, man. GJ Kinney, it's a guy that had a lot of buzz the first couple of years, especially after his first year down in San Marcos. Is not a program that won a lot of football games. Like, go look back to when they were even entered in to, the FBS ranks, getting thrown into the video games. Like, this is where everybody was playing, right? So look at what they are now. He's decided, hey, I'm going to live and die by the portal. This is what I'm going to do. This is going to be a portal team. We're going to keep hitting it hard. We're going to lose some guys, obviously through just being talented G5 program. And then we're going to go in and we're just going to take a ton of transfers, ton of transfers. 14 of 18 guys that took over 250 snaps defensively, gone, right? You look at quarterback and Jordan McLeod, gone. Ismail Mahdi, gone. Like, there's pieces all over the place on this team that you have to completely reset and look at. Let's start on the offensive side of things. Quarterback room, 1 returner, 3 power forward transfers. Now, only one really has any true experience. That's Nate Yarnell out of Pitt. But it sounds like Brad Jackson's going to be the guy. He's been there last year, got some snaps, and it sounds like they are confident that he's going to be the guy coming up this fall. The power conference transfers are young, so there's guys waiting in the wings. So that's something to pay attention to. Running back room, it's going to feature multiple backs. From my understanding, they really like Lincoln Perry. Like, that is legit a guy that they think could hit 1,000 yards. Monty didn't get to 1,000 last year, fell just short. But Perry's the guy that's going to be the main option. There are other pieces within the running back room that's going to see carries. You see a lot of GJ Kinney offenses really work into that. And to mention that, I'm going to butcher this offensive coordinator's last name, Landon Knuppel. I tried to find the pronunciation for whatever reason, couldn't find it anywhere. I think that was just poor research on this end. But what I'll tell you is that they'll may run it a little bit more. From my understanding, listening to some beat writers and some of their stuff, it was aired out when you had a guy like McLeod. Now it might be a little more run focused, as Jackson does bring that run ability to the offense. This could be a test, a little bit of their scheme, because the receiver room is intriguing. Talent, yes. Size, no. Which is crazy. Like, I feel like this is an offense that would love to have a 6'4" guy on the outside that you can throw a football up to late within the red zone or just need a first down. All these guys are going to be around that 6 foot or shorter mark, and there's nothing wrong with being short. I'm 5'9". I'll be the first to tell you. But when you have a receiver room full of them, it makes it tough, and you really have to scheme some guys open. So it'll be a real test on the GJ Kinney Knuppel scheme on getting these guys open and how they're going to work some of these guys that are a lot of slot types. Looking for some returners. There's a couple on the offensive line, if you're curious. There's not a ton throughout this thing, but the offensive line does have a couple. Left guard and then or left tackle and then a guard also return. They decided they're going to hit the portal hard for the offensive line. It's a thing that's going to mesh, and it needs to mesh. There's a ton of size. There's a ton of talent. It just does this mesh quickly enough for this team to have a really good running back room and a really good offense. Because if we're being honest, this is going to be the better unit of the two. GJ Kinney usually has a really good job getting offenses humming. So at left tackle, that's Dorian Strong. That guy's probably going to have a chance to be an all-conference guy. Ezra Dotson, Oyodite. I don't know how to say that last name. Butchered it. Doesn't matter. Going to be a guy you want to pay attention to as their season to go. Is going to probably start at center. And then wide receiver Chris Don Jr. is the one that everybody keeps putting on, being the smart one and probably the best receiver within the room at this moment in time. Continuing on the defense, right? You got to improve on defense. Like, this is not a GJ Kinney special. It's not a Texas State special, but it is a group that really needs if they're going to continue to be atop of the Sun Belt and work their way into being fighting for a playoff spot. It's a group that's got to continue to get better, and that's got to be at the forefront of everybody's mind when they think Texas State right now. 21 transfers come in, right? Focus on the defensive line. 36 sacks a season ago. That's called getting after the passer. What it's not is it's letting big plays happen. It's running games that kind of ate them alive a little bit. Middle of the road pass defense didn't help out a ton, but they do bring back a guy in Ryan Nolan on the back end that'll help a ton, honestly. And I think the corners will be a good thing. They bring in a Tyler junior college guy and Jaden Lawton, who's getting a lot of buzz throughout spring ball, and then Kamir Terrell from Oregon. They think those two will lock up the outside at the corner position. And you got to, you bring back a guy in your sack leader. I just mentioned they had 36 sacks a season ago, and Khalil Alexander, watch out for that one. That's another all Sun Belt candidate right there. Honestly, like look at the schedule a little bit. Middle of the conference season gives us 3 straight, tough ones, right? We get a Tuesday versus JMU. We get an at Louisiana. We get an at Southern Miss. Now there's a bye in there. I'm going to call it a bye. It's basically like 10 days rest when you play Tuesday and then not till the next Saturday. But that's a tough grab right there. That you're going to really think about this team's season. It's going to happen in those 3 football games. Can they get it figured out versus Eastern Michigan? Because they got to play UTSA and Arizona State this year, right? Now you got to go to Tempe, return the favor of them coming to San Marcos a season ago. Man, this is a team that could be the biggest flash in the pan and be 11-1, or this team could be 6-6. And I'm not really sure what the answer to that one's going to be, but it's an intriguing team, man. And GJ Kinney is going to be a hot name throughout everything, but I don't know. I still don't know what to think about him quite yet.
We rarely get, time to fit special teams in a conversation, but this is one team I think is worth mentioning because of the kicker and who they had last year. But just to add on to all the things you said, because you nailed it, but they had a kicker that went 15 for 15 in field goals last year, was all conference, and then he left right before spring ball started. Like, they've got a big shoe to fill there as well, quite literally a shoe, because that was a helper of the kind of I would say underachieving success that last year. We had them picked much higher than what they finished, and
it was an underachieve. And I think
I think they could admit that. They are a very prideful fan base, though. So I'm just trying to save my own ass here a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But they got to replace that kicker. I think you nailed it outside of that. Jake, any thoughts on Texas State?
Yeah, it's kind of fascinating. You look at, just for example, what we kind of use is Athlon. And they have Texas State predicted to win the West. The number 1 team, and this is a team that returns 2 starters and didn't bring in a ton of big name transfers. Like, there's some big transfers that have gone in this conference and not really any that we know of yet at Texas State. So they're giving a big nod to GJ Kinney. And if he is able to win 9-10 games and wins the West and, maybe wins a conference title, you got a real program on your hands that's now officially going to the Pac-12. Like, you have something building here in Texas State and San Marcos that okay, this could be a legitimate team in the state of Texas. That would be fascinating. I think, I don't know. It's going to be way different. Like, Lincoln Perry is going to have to be maybe 1,000-yard rusher. We'll have to wait and see. But like you mentioned it before with the quarterback situation, we don't know. And there's a lot of other guys. There's a lot of other teams in the West that have quarterbacks figured out.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's just it's fascinating that they're that confident Texas State's preseason favorites.
I mean, the 2 losses last year that came through, the Georgia State and the Sam Houston losses with Jordan McLeod and all the hype they had, God, I feel for that fan base, because we were on board with them. I mean, I thought this was going to be the G5 representative. It was probably a top 2 pick for me to be that with what they brought in. We'll see if they can put it together this year.